Welcome to Cash Flow with Carol. This is part 2 of my basic budgeting series. So if you've seen part 1, hopefully you've enjoyed your free printable and have been finding it easier to log those monthly bills and when their due dates are. So hopefully there's no nasty surprises. If you haven't seen part 1 and you'd like to see the free printable, the link is in the description below. Now, this is part 2 where we're looking at not those regular monthly bills, but all those little things that we spend on a day-to-day basis. Sometimes we're not even thinking about it. It's clothes, it's medical, medicines, it's stuff for the house, it's food and fuel and takeaways. So we need to be able to track that. We need to see where is our money going to every week. So this is this week's free printable for you. There's two. The PDF will have both the color and the plain copy there. So you just choose which one you want to print. Yours will also, across the top, not have categories because my categories are what works for me. So groceries, you'll probably use that. Fuel, you'll probably use that. Unless you're way more disciplined than me, you'll probably have takeaway or eating out. I have got a column for the girls, so that's stuff that we buy specifically there for them. It might be bathers, glasses. So I have a girls column. You might not have girls. You might have boys. You might have fur babies. So that column could be whatever you like. Medical, you might have no ongoing medical expenses, but in medical, I don't just put the ongoing medical expenses, but if we buy cough medicine or a new thermometer or whatever it is for medical, just so we can see how that's tracking. And I don't put our health insurance in our daily expenses. That's in my monthly bills. House, we're setting up our new house. So there are things that we buy for the house. I've got a miscellaneous column. So miscellaneous, I bought a crochet pattern off of Etsy. That's a miscellaneous. That's just for me for something to do. So here's one I prepared earlier. I've added up the February expense tracker. There's a few columns there that I am keen as mustard to reduce. So groceries came in at $14.74. So for a family of 5, it works out to $10.50 per day per person. When you think feeding 3 growing munchkins, and they're having 3 meals a day plus recess at school and afternoon tea. Sometimes we have dessert, sometimes we don't. $10.50 per day, I'm not too unhappy with that. Fuel is quite high at the moment. Like, we live over 100 kilometers from our old house and from where I work. So that fuel cost will come down as we're spending less time in the city. At the moment, we're doing 3 or 4 trips down a week. That should reduce down to 2 in the not too distant future. So hopefully we can halve that or use that money on traveling around and seeing the countryside. Takeaway, again, takeaway is fairly high on this, but you can see when my husband spent time in the city, so when there's a little cluster of dates, is when he's down in the city. Those takeaway costs will hopefully come down in the not too distant future as well. So fairly happy with this one. You can probably see on this particular copy, I had a column for insurance and I really have no idea why, because that's not a daily expense for us. So on my next printable, I've turned that into a house column. In your PDF version, they're all blank. So that's the daily expense tracker. Hopefully you enjoy using that tracker. The link to it is in the description below, as well as a link to part 1 of the video. Next video, we're going to be looking at income, and really finding your sources of income isn't going to be a huge thing. So we're going to look at not just income, but using our expense monthly tracker and our expense tracker and our income, and we are going to do our paycheck budget. So when we get paid next week, we'll be doing a video on how I sit down and work out paying the bills. Take care. See you soon. Happy bill paying. Bye.